Welcome to the Scarlet Report. Manchester United 3, Nottingham Forest 2. Now, before I start analyzing actual footage from the game, we have to talk about Nottingham Forest and about phases of play. Phases of play are a buzzword in football, and for good reason. Because the game is divided into phases and it can actually give your team a competitive advantage. For example, in football, there are four main phases of play. There's the attacking phase, that's when you have the ball and you're trying to score. The defensive phase, that's when the opposition has the ball and you prevent them from scoring. And two transition phases, transitioning from defense to attack, which is what many people refer to as counter-attacking, though that's not the only way you can play transition football. And transitioning from attack to defense. That means when you lose the ball, how do you organize yourself defensively? How do you win that ball back? Now, of course, there are many other phases within phases, but these are the four main ones. Now, why is this important in football tactics? It's because if you as a manager, you can identify areas of weaknesses for your opposition and areas of strengths for your team within one or two specific phases, then throughout the game, you can actually target those specific phases in order to give your team the advantage. And Nottingham Forest actually are an extremely well-organized team when it comes to the transition phase from defense to attack. And mainly because of their three forwards. Eoni, who is an extremely physical center forward. Gibbs White, who is a good passer and a good player with creative playmaking capabilities. And of course, Brennan Johnson, who is extremely fast and explosive. And these three players, with their skill sets, they combine to create an attacking trident that can hurt many teams in different ways. But what makes this really dangerous for Manchester United is that not only are Nottingham Forest really good in that transition phase, but we are really weak in transitioning from attack to defense. When Manchester United loses the ball, we are actually quite vulnerable. And so I knew prior to the game, I was actually going to make a video about, a tactical breakdown of how Nottingham Forest play prior to the game. By the way, just a quick parenthesis, if you would be interested in that content, just let me know in the comment section below. But I knew that this game really smelled and sounded and looked like a banana slip moment, potentially, for Manchester United because of this reason. And so now, let's see actually how that played out in the game. So we conceded 2 goals within the first 4 minutes. And this is the first one. Now, the first thing we're going to look at, there was a corner from Manchester United. And as you can see here, Marcus Rashford and Anthony are both positioned in the edge of the box. This is actually a pretty good setup, and it makes sense, it's logical, because both of them are very good strikers of the ball, very good dribblers. Whenever the opposition clears, then you have 2 of your best strikers on the edge of the box. That means you can keep that pressure on the opposition. And also here, you can see that there is, method behind the madness is the fact that Erik ten Hag chooses to keep Aaron Wan-Bissaka, our best defender, and also a player who's got great recovery speed and great tackling ability, as a buffer right here. So his main job is to cover for Anthony and Marcus Rashford in case there is a counter-attack, a transition from defense to attack. But the problem here, as in what happens here, look at this. Then what happens, the question is, when Aaron Wan-Bissaka, the player who is supposed to be your buffer, actually misses his tackle or is positioned 1 or 2 yards away from the position where he's supposed to be. It happens. It happens. Within 90 minutes, it can happen. It can happen once, twice, 3 times in a game. Then what happens? What happens is that you find yourself in a situation like this, where you have a really physical and quite athletic player faced with Marcus Rashford. And here, guys, I am not criticizing Marcus Rashford. But Marcus Rashford is a very good player in the attacking phase. However, he's a player who lacks balance. He lacks physical aggression. And he's quite a big guy, but he does not know how to use his body properly. He's as tall as Cristiano Ronaldo, but he's not nearly as good in the air. Because Cristiano Ronaldo knew how to use his physical attributes, Marcus Rashford does not know how to do that. And so here, as you can see, he should have won this battle right here, this duel with Awini. He didn't. Also here, Onana should have come in. That's why we have a sweeper keeper. So here, this is something I would expect from David De Gea, but not from Andre Onana. He didn't come out, and then we found ourselves in this situation. And then goal 1-0 for Nottingham Forest. It was a big shock for Manchester United fans. And then immediately after that, we found ourselves in this situation. In fact, we could not see what happened before this because they were still showing the highlights from the first goal. But then this what it shows me when you have the defenders going back and then an attacker carrying the ball. This is the hallmarks. These are the hallmarks of transitioning from defense to attack. Manchester United lost the ball in the attacking phase and now Nottingham Forest are going in. So Ione had a very clear role in the first goal. Now Brennan Johnson and Gibbs White are going to combine for the second one. So Brennan Johnson right here run in. Diogo Dalot is going to show his defensive naivety, right? In these kind of situations, you just push the player towards the corner flag. He's not dangerous. You just just be there. Just keep contact with the player. Don't let him cut inside, and that's it. But now he shows his lack of experience, Diogo Dalot. He gives them a free kick. And then Gibbs White, great delivery from him. But here, there are a few things that happen. I don't think you can see it clearly over here. But Marcus Rashford over here, look at this. Again, not using his physicality properly. Then we have Lisandro Martinez and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, both of them missing their header. And then Casemiro, who is marking Bolly over here, of course. So we have 4 players, plus Dalot, so 5 players, who all of them individually on an individual level made mistakes that have led to this goal by Bolly. And then Manchester United find themselves 2-0 down within the 4th minute. But my friends who were watching the game with me, that's it. They were like, oh, come on, I'm going to go to McDonald's, get a cheeseburger. I cannot watch this anymore. Okay, let's go to the pub. But I was like, guys, relax, because I knew exactly what happened. What happened here is that Nottingham Forest were handed a poisoned chalice. Why is that? And I have a lot of respect for their manager, Steve Cooper. The thing is, you cannot plan for this scenario. Going to Old Trafford and being 2-0 up within the 4th minute. You have 2 choices to make. Either you say, okay, even though we are 2-0 up, this is still Manchester United. We are not safe, so we keep on attacking. We keep the pressure on Manchester United. Of course, the downside to that is that you're going to provide Manchester United with a lot of space to hurt you in the counter. Or you can make choice number 2 and to say, okay, 2-0 is enough. We are playing against Manchester United. Let's drop back, park the bus, and just see what we can get from this game. But then when you do this, what happens is that even though you increase your defensive numbers, what you do is that you allow Manchester United a lot of time and space, a lot of time on the ball. And Manchester United has so many talented players who can hurt you. So Steve Cooper chose the second option, and of course, we're going to see what happens. But before we do that, let's again look at some other examples of how Nottingham Forest could actually hurt us really badly before we could score goals and come back in the game because of their strength in the transitions and because of our weakness in transitioning from attack to defense. Here, again, Marcus Rashford is going to show, again, his inability to compete physically in duels. Here, for example, look, he miscontrols the ball, but he's easily shoved out of the ball. He has a second chance to make up for it, coming into a tackle. No, it's not a good wholehearted effort. And then now Nottingham Forest can find themselves, again, transitioning quickly from defense to attack, find themselves in the same sequence, here with Brennan Johnson, run in between Diogo Dalot and Christian Eriksen, and then they find themselves in this situation. This should have been a goal. And we gotta thank Taiwo over here because he's the one who blocked the shot, actually. Yeah, but this is another example. We have another one, and it's here. This was, again, Nottingham Forest wins the ball, and then immediately they cut through us with a few key passes and find themselves in a very dangerous situation. But here I'm also going to highlight Lisandro Martinez over here, maybe you cannot see him clearly, and Casemiro over here, who are going to be responsible for a few bad decisions. So the ball comes in towards Morgan Gibbs-White, he's dragging Lisandro Martinez towards him, 1, 2, and then Casemiro is over here, 3, and now as Aurier is running with the ball, look, we find ourselves here with a huge Lisandro Martinez shaped hole. And who's supposed to cover for this? First of all, Lisandro Martinez, why are you so aggressive? And then Casemiro, it's your job right now as a defensive midfielder. Okay, the center back went ahead, went really high up the pitch, aggressive in the press. It's your job now to plug this hole. Look at Casemiro, look what he's doing. He's jogging. Come on, man. Are you the Casemiro from last year? I'm not quite sure, okay? And then thankfully, it didn't actually amount to anything. It went to a corner for Nottingham Forest. But these are examples of how soft we are in transitioning from attack to defense, and against teams like Wolves, teams like Spurs, teams like Nottingham Forest who are really good at transitioning from defense to attack. We are always going to face trouble. We are always going to concede goals, and we are always going to find it difficult to win. Now let's talk about the good stuff, our goals. So, our first goal. Now, before, I cannot show you the whole sequence from this goal because, otherwise this video is going to get banned for copyright reasons. But prior to us finding ourselves in this situation with Marcus Rashford on the edge of the box, we actually had a sequence with 21 passes. So the Manchester United players passed the ball 21 times without any Nottingham Forest players touching the ball before Marcus Rashford could find himself in this position. And then when you have Marcus Rashford here, players like Marcus Rashford, Kylian Mbappe, Martinelli, Luis Diaz, these players, these wide forwards like this, if you have them in this situation right here, 1-on-1, that's it. It's game over. And here, Rashford is going to show his true worth for Manchester United. Look at this. Magnificent. Great. And then great cross, low cross towards Christian Eriksen. Great technique as well from the Dane, just poking it into the box. Great. Now, because Nottingham Forest have backed off, they have given our superiorly talented players the opportunity to showcase their talents and to change the game in our favor. So this was a mistake from Nottingham Forest, if I'm being honest. This set-piece goal right here, Bruno Fernandes. Mwah! Love you, man. Love you. I don't know, how do we say love you in Portuguese? But anyway, te quiero. Spain, close to Portugal, same thing. So, Bruno Fernandes over here, what he does completely blew my mind because it's such an intelligent move from him. So what he does, again, as you can see, Anthony and Marcus Rashford on the edge of the box. I guess that's probably how Manchester United are going to be set up in set pieces from now on. He chooses to go towards Marcus Rashford, of course. And here, because I watched the game in Chinese, I live in China, the commentator was like, what a bad decision is that? He should not have done that. I'm not so sure about that, in Chinese, of course. And I was just laughing because I was like, no, actually, I think that this is a great thing because look at what happened. So Bruno Fernandes is going to start making the move. But look, what I love about this, he's also mindful of the offside trap. So what he does is that now he's making a diagonal run, but then now he goes more horizontally in order to make sure that he is still onside. And then look at this. And then sprinting, just taking Johnson by surprise over here. Beautiful sprint, pass. Amazing. Great, great, great goal because this is a great goal it's like a great example of playmaking and how you can be a playmaker without necessarily being the guy who, touches the ball and who actually makes things happen with the ball. You can be a playmaker and create play, make play with the way you move. The way you move makes you a target for passes. And then it empowers you, it gives you the opportunity to create chances for your teammates. Bruno Fernandes, that was a great play. Another example of great play by Bruno Fernandes. This is how Nottingham Forest got their royal red card. Again, Casemiro was in full mojo this game, though I have to say, it can be because he's coming back to fitness, but again, like I highlighted earlier, there are still a few holes for him to plug in his defensive responsibilities, but also Nottingham Forest kind of made it his game because they created the right environment for him. By backing off, they have allowed him a lot of space, a lot of time on the ball. And when you do that with a player as experienced and as talented as Casemiro, of course, he's going to hurt you. He could have scored 2 goals, could have had the Casemiro double. But anyway, here, Bruno Fernandes starts his run earlier, so there is no chance of an offside. And of course, Casemiro just takes everyone by surprise with a no-look pass. Look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's just like beautiful, smart play, really proactive play. We are making Nottingham Forest dance to our tune. And that's great. And of course, there's no denying that. That is a red card for Manchester United. And of course, with that, against 10 man, we were able to score our third goal and win the game. But also Bruno Fernandes, we've seen a lot of criticism of Bruno Fernandes lately. But I say it takes one to know one. If Kevin De Bruyne picked him as a creative monster, it's because he is a creative monster. And I keep saying that in each of my videos. There is nothing great that we do that does not involve Bruno Fernandes. He's involved in everything beautiful that Manchester United does. He is our talisman, he's our best player, and he's a great player. And here I think that he's growing into his role as a captain. Look at this sequence, for example. The clearance was from him, goes to Anthony, 1-2 with Anthony, look, takes the ball out, and then look, 1, but it's not over. And then 2, that's it. Beautiful. He's fighting for every ball. He's really playing with the heart on his sleeve. He's really being a great captain for Manchester United. And plus, technically, he's a player who provides so much value for us on the pitch. But what this game has shown me is that, first of all, we are really bad in transitioning from attack to defense. That's definitely something we got to work on. And also with Casemiro, I think that he's a player that we need to manage throughout the season. But we definitely need another number 6. To me, Sofiane Amrabat right now is a must for Manchester United. Otherwise, we are not going to meet our objectives for the season. So anyway, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this tactical analysis video. If you did, please let me know in the comment section below. What did you think about the game? What do you think, and what are your expectations and anticipations ahead of our game against Arsenal? That's going to be a big one. And of course, let me know if you'd like me to analyze the opposition prior to us playing them. If I get enough comments, if this video gets, let's say, 3,000 views, I'm definitely posting, 3,000 views, 3,000 likes. I am definitely posting an Arsenal analysis video either on Wednesday or Thursday. So, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this. Until next time, cheers.